Hey folks, Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I have seen an overwhelming amount of people being like, "What are you talking about, Ted? You're crazy." And when I say that, they probably don't sound anything like that, first of all. But one thing that a lot of people are coming out and saying is they're like, "Oh, I bet that you put out that video about reworking Tyranny of Dragons." And I bet they're reworking Tyranny of Dragons because they're going to combine it with Lost Mines of Phandelver. And to that I said, no, they're not. Lost Mines of Phandelver is getting developed into its own full-blown campaign in 2023. And a bunch of people are like, what are you talking about? Elaborate, please clarify. And then, like, to that I also say, did you just miss the entire roadmap of 2023? And I guess this is a good opportunity to just remind you that they gave us the roadmap of all of the major releases for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition in 2023 during their big event on the 18th of August. And as I said, this is exactly what I've always been wanting, WotC to give us what's coming out so we can plan. But I guess this is a good opportunity for me to reiterate that that exists. Here it is. Okay. In the winter of 2023, i.e., January, February, March timeframe, we're going to get keys from the Golden Vault. Now, I have heard from somebody that keys from the Golden Vault did appear on Barnes and Noble's website with a launch date of mid-February. So that makes sense because I believe Keys from the Golden Vault is going to be a tie-in to the D&D movie coming out in March. So that makes sense to me. We have Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants in the spring. I'm targeting probably a May time frame for that. This is going to be similar to a Fizban's Treasury of Dragons book, but instead of Fizban, it's Bigby, and instead of dragons, it's giants. This is likely going to pull in all of the more recent giant-related unearthed arcanas with the, I think the Primeval Druid was in there. We had was it a barbarian or a fighter? And then there was some different feats and things. That will likely end up in there. Then in summer, we have the Phandelver campaign. The thing that kind of kicked off this whole video is, yeah, they have already stated they're going to further develop Lost Mines of Phandelver, the original starter set for 5th edition, into a full-blown Phandelver campaign. This is probably one of the things that I'm most excited about coming out next year, because we don't really know what's going to happen. Is it literally going to take Lost Mines of Phandelver levels 1 through 5 and then add 5 through 10 or 5 through 11 or whatever they're going to add to it? Is it going to sample some of the pieces and kind of adjust and rework it? How is it ultimately going to look? Now, I do think that Lost Mines of Phandelver, I stand by this to this day, is one of the absolute best things Wizards of the Coast has ever produced. It is a fantastic introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. It gives you all of the little aspects of D&D as well. You get a little bit of intrigue, you get some dealing with townsfolk, you get dungeon crawls, you get to fight a dragon. There's a lot of really cool stuff in it, and I really, really like it. So it becoming a full-blown campaign is fantastic. And I mean, especially, and I don't want to spoil it in case too much more than I kind of already did. I mean, it's a 6 to 7 year old adventure at this point, so who am I really spoiling it for? But if you never played it and you're very excited for the point of the campaign, the where it ends has the potential to have a lot more longevity at the end of it, unless, who knows, maybe more of the stuff they're adding in is dispersed throughout what the original adventure was. I don't know, but I'm most excited about that. And then in the fall slash early winter, we have 2 books. We have the Book of Many Things, which we don't really know much about. It's something to do with the Deck of Many Things. We saw some Deck of Many Things related stuff crop up in Unearthed Arcana. My thoughts are, and again, this was all Unearthed Arcana before we were dealing with one D&D playtest. I think for the most part, we're not really going to see any more Unearthed Arcana. Maybe I'll make this a separate video, but any more Unearthed Arcana that we used to see, where we would kind of just be workshopping new subclasses and new things. I think everything we've got, I think that's done, and all Unearthed Arcana going forward is probably going to be one D&D playtest until one D&D eventually releases. So my hope is that the Book of Many Things is not an adventure, and it's maybe a magic item source book. That's a big ask, but it's something everyone's been asking for. And if you're going to round out the end of 5th edition's life cycle, a solid book about magic items is good, because that should perpetuate forward into 1D&D with little to no problems. And then we also have Planescape, which I believe is going to be pretty much identical in composition to Spelljammer, which does make me feel a little bad for Eberron as well as for Dragonlance, because I believe Planescape is going to be a box set with 3 books and a DM screen. Now, Spelljammer had its issues. I don't need to belabor it here. We all know that. But perhaps this is an opportunity for them to show us how much they took the feedback and are going to expand, and maybe not give us 368-page books, maybe give us 320-page books or something like that. I'm not sure. I'd like to see something improve there. But it also bums me out that we just got Dragonlance sort of in the form of like an adventure, less of a campaign setting. And then Eberron, unfortunately, looks like it kind of got shafted because it just came out first. So I would love to go back and revisit those with multiple box sets. Now, this was from, this was the tweet, but if we go to the Game Rant article, there's a bunch of people did articles. I did several videos on it, but I'll just go back to their article and we can just read, you can just look up the roadmap itself, but I'll read, they have a little bit of snippets here, right? Keys from the Golden Vault is a heist-themed anthology of short modular adventures similar to Candlekeep Mysteries. It being a heist-themed anthology and targeting February, knowing that Honor Among Thieves is obviously heist-related, I think that's the tie-in. Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants releases next spring, is described as a giant-themed companion to Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. The Book of Many Things, we don't really know much about it. Phandelver campaign, also scheduled for next summer, is an adventure that picks up where... Okay, so they are clarifying here. Where the 5th edition campaign, Lost Mines of Phandelver, left off. And then Planescape. So the real question is, when it says it picks up where Lost Mines of Phandelver left off, is it going to just include from that point on? Which would be a unique opportunity to take a game that a campaign that ended at 5th level, and rather than just designing it, would be really shitty if they just design a 5-level campaign. So maybe this is an opportunity to go from 5th to 15th level, so we could have a 1 to 15 adventure again. We haven't had one of those in a long time. Or do you think it's gonna pick up where it left off, but it's also gonna include all the content from levels 1 to 5 that was in Phandelver? And this, again, if my concept from the previous video I released kind of earlier today / late yesterday about Tyranny of Dragons and this whole like rebalancing, reworking concept, perhaps this is an opportunity for them to also do that to Phandelver and then continue it onward. So anyway, folks, I just wanted to cover this because it does appear that a lot of people either missed that or didn't know, so this is a good opportunity to talk about it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I'll see you all next time.